Well, I mean, let's take those statements from the Turkish side. In particular here, we've had the responses now to Donald Trump and his Vice President Mike Pence. We've had Çavuşoğlu, but we've also had Ibrahim Kalin, the president's spokesperson, coming out and issuing a statement. We've had the Vice President, we've had the Foreign Ministry spokesman issuing a statement, and all of them really touched on very similar themes. So they're talking about Turkish sovereignty, they're talking about the language, or being opposed to the language that the Americans were using with regards to Turkey, and reminding the Americans that Turkey and the United States are allies, NATO allies, of course. And it's interesting as well to note there what Mevlut Çavuşoğlu, the foreign minister, noted right at the end of his tweet, that no one was above the law, and that takes you really back to the Turkish government's position, and perhaps can indicate what might happen coming in the next few days, the next few months ahead, because they reiterated since the start of Pastor Brunson's detention and the American protests against it, that this wasn't a matter for the Turkish government to intervene in. This was to do with the Turkish judiciary, that his judiciary was independent, that it would be up to prosecutors and to the judges to eventually decide whether to release Pastor Brunson or not, and that it was not up to the Turkish government. Like I say, that's been their point since day one. Now, I mean, in terms of what comes next, that position is unlikely to change for the foreseeable future in light of these the threats that have come from the United States. It's unclear, especially with regards to the Turkish statements. It's unlikely that they'll be backing down per se anytime soon, because that will then mean that that what they've said before was in fact what they could do, because, as I've said, they said that this is not something for them to intervene in. However, we did see on Wednesday that Pastor Brunson was taken to house arrest. That was seen as a possible first step, towards his eventual release. But like I say, what appeared to have been a de-escalation on Wednesday now appears on Thursday. Instead, the situation appears to have escalated quite considerably.
Of course.